Nottingham Trent University, working with you. Proud sponsors of Working Week.
On Working Week this week.
Yes, we're meeting...
Sorry, he got it wrong. This is our second attempt.
We're meeting a cake woman, that's what we're calling her. She's from West Bridgford. She's got a worldwide recognition as the best cake maker on the planet.
I can airbrush strawberries gold. I airbrush apples blue. We airbrush bananas, chocolate, just absolutely anything.
And talking of sweet things, we'll be meeting the Nottingham man who's returned to his home city from Australia to set up a confectionery shop, and it's just round the corner, Des.
I absolutely love it. I've worked all my life really for quite large retailers and head offices, but there's something different about all the responsibility and all of the ranging being your own responsibility.
And it seems like half of Nottingham has built out this stuff, but no one's ever heard of it, Des.
Bulwell Stone.
Bulwell Stone, we've got the full story.
And we know which half of Nottingham as well.
Hello, I'm Rob Pittham.
And I am Des Coleman. Now, we've all seen the Great British Bake Off.
Yeah, but those cakes are nothing, believe me, nothing compared to the ones being produced by a West Bridgford woman who's got a worldwide reputation, Des, for cake decorating. It's a business that's grown from solving a problem: how to use the techniques of airbrushing to produce better-looking cakes. Dawn Butler began in her kitchen in West Bridgford. Now her kits sell all over the world. She told our reporter Andy Johnson how it all started.
Basically, airbrushing was a gentleman's tool. It was meant for the garage. It was very industrial, and it was great for adding colour to something. And we felt, as cake decorators, there must surely be something we could do with cake. But the trouble was that it was too industrial for most users. So as you can see, it's a very tiny unit. Nice, powerful compressor, but a very tiny unit. Everything that I cake decorate is done in white. So I do everything in white, so no coloured sugar paste. And then basically, I add my colour with my food colourings, okay? But it's not all then just about flat colour. So whereas these cakes here, that's a full-on black paste, a white paste, a red paste, a blue paste. So the fries that are there, can you see how they're all gently airbrushed? I've developed an alcohol-based colour. Now, it's not something you can sit and drink. It's ethanol rather than a clear alcohol. But what ethanol does is it evaporates the minute it leaves an airbrush. So therefore, it actually goes on dry. So it's a brilliant tool for airbrushing on cakes. I can airbrush strawberries gold. I airbrush apples blue. We airbrush bananas, chocolate, just absolutely anything. This buttercream, for instance, here, you shouldn't be able to airbrush buttercream, but actually, if I wanted to, I can just put the little tinges there inside his ears. So for our customers too, that's so much better because white icing is so much cheaper. So actually, they were able to add all of those colours, and these bottles will last far longer than opening brand new packets of coloured paste all the time. So whether somebody is trying to make it as a business, their profit margin is larger, or mums at home that want to make cakes for their kids, they're not having a great expense.
Dawn works with the Nottingham-based cake decorating company in Triumph Road to add their international production and marketing skills to the mix.
I think really what we did together is Dawn came up with the ideas, and then she was telling me about them, and they sounded really exciting. Something very different, and as a company, we always look for things that are very unique and different. So when she came up, we thought, yeah, let's go with it. So obviously we were the finance side of it together, and
just works. I mean, it's we don't like to say good cop, bad cop,
yes,
because we're both pretty good.
Yeah.
But what it's about is that I'm the creativity,
yes,
but without Debbie's contacts, I'd be selling them from my car boot sales, or they'd be stuck in the garage. Debbie is the largest distributor in Europe for cake decorating supplies. but also manufacturing of them as well. So it just fits hand in glove, doesn't it, as to where we can kind of go.
But Dawn's not stopping there. She's developed a revolutionary new product that she says will take the world of cake making by storm.
We've also designed Cake Frame to have a hollow centre to it. Now, that allows me to put wiring and lighting and movement through the cake without it actually touching any of the cake. And when I launch for the NEC, I will do so with the first ever live moving cake exhibition.
And we'll have more details on that revolutionary idea and more gorgeous cakes later in the show. Well, so much for cakes. Let's get a bit heavier now, Des, and look at devolution. Ever since the Scottish referendum, there's been a lot of talk about more power for cities like Nottingham.
I think if you speak to anybody, some people are for it and some people are against.
And some people haven't got a clue what it's about, let's be honest, including me and you probably, but someone who does know whether it's good for Nottingham or not is...
Richard
Baker. Richard Baker from the Nottingham Post. So we've heard a lot about Scotland's a long way from here, but does it, all that devolution, have an impact on us in Nottingham?
I think it will have an impact on Nottingham, because I think the truth is that what happened in Scotland absolutely scared the pants off Westminster, and they've realised they simply can't continue to hang on to the purse strings in the same way that they used to. Now, if you talk to local politicians, they'll tell you that trying to get money out of Whitehall is a nightmare anyway. 95% of the money that's raised in Nottingham goes back down to Whitehall, and trying to get it is like taking a test where you answer a question and the question changes after you've given your answer. It is a nightmare for them.
So we've got local politicians, particularly here in Nottingham, asking for more power. What kind of things are they talking about?
Well, this is one of the big unanswered questions. Right now, we're only a few months away from an election, and the politicians haven't really made clear exactly what they're going to give people. All they've done is make various pledges to say that they think it's right that local politicians should have a bigger say on the way money's spent locally.
And I guess the big question for geeks like you and I looking at business and the economy is, what does it mean for businesses? What's their view?
Businesses, I guess, are going to have mixed views about it. At the end of the day, what they're concerned about is that politicians do a good job, and are local politicians going to do a better job at spending money and running the economy than national politicians? We just don't know the answer to that. What businesses will really be looking for, more than anything else, is that decisions are made quickly. If they're going to invest millions, if they're going to build new factories, if they're going to employ people, they want decisions to happen fast. And if they wait for Whitehall or wait for Nottingham City Council, then they're going to wonder whether or not anything's changed.
You can tell we're outside. I brought my brolly because it is threatening rain, but you probably don't know this because you've probably got a little bit of this stuff in your garden.
You finished?
I have.
Yeah, your garden wall to be precise. It's Bulwell Stone, Des. A whole load of the city is built on it. No one really knows very much about it. And now the quarry, which is, believe it or not, quite near Bulwell, it's been reopened.
That's very good.
Nottingham's built on many things, pharmaceuticals, coal and of course bicycles. But did you know it's also built on a lot of local stone, and one very distinctive one in particular, Bulwell Stone. Once it was in common use across the city, but now there's only one quarry left near Limby, and that's been bought by businessman Nigel Baxter. He told our reporter Jane Dodge that he's trying to preserve part of the city's heritage.
This is unique in the sense that it is the last remaining reserve in Nottingham that is working. There's been quarrying since, reputedly since the 13th century. You know, if you lift your head up from the pavement in Nottingham, you'll see, you know, churches and other buildings that have been completed out of it. But certainly in the suburbs, there's mile after mile of Bulwell stone walling, pier caps and gate posts. Its real use is in conservation and heritage work, but also in architectural features. So, as part of a building design, or perhaps in a scheme that is being run by an architect to bring in, you know, certain elements of it, just to bring its association to Nottingham.
The quarry's rarely used now, being reopened to supply stone for special conservation projects, like the new flood defence wall alongside the embankment, which planners insisted should be made of Bulwell stone.
From a sort of conservation perspective, we like to think that we can protect the what's called the vernacular, which is the local traditions and the local traditional stones and materials, because they contribute to our sense of place, as we would put it, to the character of areas. It's quite important that we can do that, really. This stone was specified as part of the Environment Agency's flood alleviation work that stretches right down from here all the way through to Attenborough. And in this area here, alongside Nottingham, alongside the riverbank, it was the Nottingham planners that insisted that they went for a Bulwell limby stone. Rightly so, I think, because you look at it now from the riverside, it's a beautiful spot, and it really is the appropriate material for the job here.
So what are the properties that make Bulwell stone so unique? Jason's an expert.
It's a magnesian limestone, which there aren't a whole lot of that type of stone in the country. And this is part of an outcrop that sort of stretches from that part of Nottingham up to South Yorkshire and onwards up into the north. It's a stone that has gone through a sort of partial transformation, and as a result it's actually a very hard wearing stone for the most part. It's also very distinctive looking, and this stone that we see here is very much, you know, a good example of that kind of warm reddy orange colour that you get from Bulwell stone, and you see it all over Nottingham.
And it turns out Bulwell stone's not the only local stone to have flourished once upon a time in Notts.
If you go up to the middle of the county around Tuxford, where they had skerry stones that were really useful and used extensively in things like the churches and some of the buildings before the Victorian period especially, you were using a lot of vernacular material.
That's it for now, but in the second half we're going to meet the Nottingham man who's back from Australia, and his family have a long history of confectionery making in Nottingham Des, and he's opened a fudge shop just around the corner.
You know the beautiful thing about fudge?
Go on then, I'm worried now, go on, tell me.
You can do, you know, like you burn candle and you drip candle, you can do the same with fudge, with hot fudge, drip it on yourself, and you know what I mean?
Well, that wasn't too bad, I was expecting worse.
No, I'm not going to do anything too naughty.
Nottingham Trent University, proud sponsors of Working Week. Nottingham Trent University, proud sponsors of Working Week.
We'll be hearing more from the Nottingham cake decorating woman who basically knocks the spots off the Great British Bake Off. And I don't think that's exaggerating too much.
No, not the spot, yeah.
There's loads of people that say, well, you went from a police officer, I then got myself a little job in a supermarket, just stacking shelves, and it was constantly kind of ticking away that there was something else out there for me, and now, yeah, we've gone from strength to strength in this cake industry.
And we'll be meeting a Mapley woman who, she made a body rub for herself and then decided that she wanted to make some soap, so she made this perfumery soap that sold ridiculous amounts.
How many? How many has it sold?
Well, that's what we could find out.
You just made it up as you went along there, weren't you? It's very impressive, though.
And the soaps and the other products are getting out there throughout the whole country now. It's not just Nottingham, so yeah, they've got stockists all over, Wales, Scotland, everywhere, Yorkshire.
So let's hear more from that cake decorator straight away, Des. It's Dawn Butler, and she's got a new revolutionary product that's going to transform the face of cake making. I'm not exaggerating again either. It really is. West Bridgeford cake decorator Dawn Butler has a worldwide reputation in her field. She's pioneered the use of airbrushing in cake making to achieve amazing effects. Now she's planning to revolutionise the world of cake decorating once more with a new invention.
So as a cake decorator, I was really frustrated with the fact that we were building amazing cakes, but actually inside that was things like MDF, which you can't use in any cakes. There was metal, there was plumbing supplies, there was all sorts of stuff that wasn't supposed to be anywhere near food.
That was 2 years ago, and now the company's teamed up with a Leicester manufacturer to bring the product to market.
What we've come up with is basically a framework that slots together. So it's got a hexagonal core to it, which is its strength, but also provides versatility because you can turn that round in various different options. But that just allows us to slot together any configuration in order that we can build all sorts of framework and structures. And I've also made this dishwasher safe. So actually when you finish with that, you can pop that in the dishwasher and people will be able to reuse it as well. So I'm cutting down the time that people are spending on decorating cakes. I'm upping their profit margin. It's also accessible to mums at home that want to make cakes for their kids. They want to do those standing up amazing figures, so they can do that. And it just allows a whole different world of cake decorating to be available to everybody.
And for Dawn, it's all a far cry from her previous job.
4 years ago, I actually left the police service as a detective inspector, and I've moved into the world of cakes. And I started decorating cakes in my home, in my dining room, for sort of mums and friends and kids at school. And it's now gone from that. It then led on to the airbrushing. So I've sort of taken the world by storm with that, and that product now has been around for 2 years and is now sold all over the world. And then on from that, we've now developed the cake frame.
Dawn might know a lot about cake decorating, but now she's also been picking up tips on how to develop and manufacture a brand new product and bring it to market.
I've learned a heck of a lot from the manufacturers about what is possible, but also making that future-proof and being able to say, well, we want this from that, and then in the future, when we add this and when we add the other piece, that kind of needs to fit into place. And I literally have probably spent 8 hours a day in Leicester for the past 6 months, going through drawings, going through designs, playing and testing. There is amazing technology now, like the 3D printer. So we've had all our parts done on the 3D printer first to be able to play with that and test them before actually making them for real.
Dawn is planning to use her invention to have lights and moving colours running through the tubes to take cake making to a whole new level.
If you'd have asked me 2 years ago, would I have ever thought I'd have seen something from a drawing, literally the back of a scrap of paper, actually turn into a physical product that really works, that is being manufactured, boxed, sold, all made in the UK here in the East Midlands, and it's already got pre-orders from all over the world. I'm absolutely delighted.
You've heard of soap on a rope. Well, this lady knocks that into touch, because after creating a body rub for herself, she decided to create soaps, perfumery soaps, and she created a wonderful business from that. Take a look at this.
Inspiration for your own company can come from anywhere. Emma Puver is building a business in Mapley, selling natural soaps and aromatherapy products that she makes herself. And as she told our reporter Andy Johnson, it all began as a hobby.
I've always been interested in natural products and skincare, and I used to make body scrubs just for me. And then my niece, she suffers with quite dry skin, dry irritated skin, so she started using the body scrubs as well, and she really noticed an improvement in her skin. It's completely natural, no parabens, no preservatives, no palm oil. Yeah, completely natural, and essential oils, no fragrance oils as well. So just really kind, gentle ingredients for your skin. Yeah, body scrubs were the first product, and then it gradually grew to bath melts, massage bars, lip balms, body butters, and then soaps. And soaps is actually the biggest seller now, so its main product is the soaps.
And talking about keeping it in the family, I understand your mum was a very good saleswoman for you early on.
Yeah, she still is. She's, my mum's my biggest supporter. So she's really, helped me from the very beginning. She sells to people at work for me and comes to every craft fair with me. She's great.
How do you come up with the ideas for the different ranges that you've got? How much experimentation goes into it? Just talk me through that.
Yeah, loads. Obviously, I need to make sure I'm happy with it and that it's right before I sell it to anybody, and it has to go through my testing. Obviously, I don't test on animals, so friends and family get to try everything, and I take everyone's feedback, do a little bit of market research. All the products have to comply with EU law, so there's a process that I have to go through, obviously with testing, and you have to notify the cosmetic portal as well with everything that you make. So yeah.
Why do you think your products have proved so popular in what is quite a competitive market?
They're palm oil free, and I use locally sourced rapeseed oil as well. So English rapeseed oil is one of the main ingredients in my soap, because I like to source locally where possible. So I also use local honey in my body scrubs. It's difficult to get an oil from England. Obviously your shea butter and your cocoa butter and things are from Africa. Olive oil's from the Mediterranean. So I spent a lot of time looking for an English oil that I could use, and found rapeseed oil, and it makes a really, really nice soap. The last couple of months has been amazing. We did a couple of trade shows earlier on this year, one in Harrogate and one in London. They really get the orders in. The shops go to these trade shows to shop, so they're buying their stock for the rest of the year and then ordering from me wholesale, so obviously in bigger quantities, and the soaps and the other products are getting out there throughout the whole country now. It's not just Nottingham, so yeah, they've got stockists all over, Wales, Scotland, everywhere, Yorkshire.
How does that make you feel?
I'm really proud of it. My little business, it's doing really well. I'm pleased with it.
And what would you say to other sole traders who maybe have a dream or an idea like you have? I mean, you're 4 years, a lot of hard work in that 4 years to get where you are today. Would you encourage them to pursue that because you've done that, and by the sound of things, you're really pleased with what you've done?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's been hard, it's not easy, but if you believe in something, then you need to give it a go, otherwise you'll just be wondering, what if?
It's a great tale, this. The guy comes back from Australia, decides to set up a confectionery shop.
That's because his family have got a long history of sweet making here in Nottingham, so looking for work, he decided to open a shop just around the corner. It's a shop that's announcing its presence on the high street in style with a spectacular display. The treat kitchen was set up by Martin Barnett, a Nottingham lad who'd emigrated to Australia but decided to come back to Notts after returning for a holiday and realising he wanted his son to grow up back amongst his family.
Originally, we was going to come home and I was going to continue working as a buyer or a merchandiser for a big retailer, which I've done all my life. But something told me that I wanted to have a go at something myself or try something ourselves. My wife and I talked about it, and we had a good walk around Nottingham, and we decided to couple my buying experience of confectionery with my family heritage, which is also confectionery, and start a sweet shop in Nottingham, which, when you walk around the city centre, there wasn't one. There was your Thornton's, and of course there was your Hotel Chocolate. But other than that, the independents, chocolate-wise and sweets-wise, really seem to have left the city centre.
Of course, there might be a reason that there are so few sweet shops, but Martin's convinced the time and the market are both right.
Confectionery actually has grown 5% year on year throughout the recession. Now, a lot of that's driven from the fact that confectionery has become cheaper as a cheaper treat, driven by supermarkets, of course. But there is something there that says that people who can't afford lavish gifts or to expend lavishly on themselves can afford to treat themselves.
Martin comes from a long line of Nottingham confectioners. His dad, Patrick, comes in to make the fudge, and generations of his family have been serving up sweets to the people of Nottingham.
My family have had a confectionery factory in Nottingham for about 120 years now. We actually, from the original business, purchased our sugar-free range, which are made probably a mile from the shop. Bizarrely as well, this shop in 1904 was a Watmouth's confectioners. So 110 years later, we've converted the actual premises back into a sweet shop.
That's the past, but how's the new venture working out in the present?
People are enjoying the fact that there's now an independent local Nottingham retailer offering confectionery in the city centre, which has been lacking. The window has been a big success. We've got people asking permission to photograph the window all the time, which was the purpose of the window, was to get people to kind of see the colour and vibrancy of confectionery and be drawn to it. There are plenty of city centres who have the ye olde sweet shop feel. They've been around a bit. This is, I feel, an update to that.
The Treat Kitchen has set up a website selling its sweets, and marketing is playing a big role in driving the new shop forward.
We're very keen on upcycling here as well, and we feel that as we build a relationship with the customers, showing how they've used our glassware or how they've used the milk bottles again, we feel that might be something that's worthy of gaining lots of followers on Pinterest and Instagram.
Martin's convinced he's spotted a gap in the market, calculating that our love of a treat and the shopper's instinct for something new will mean he can open a chain of shops around the country.
We hope you've enjoyed the show. We've had a jam-packed show, haven't we?
We've had a great time. What a laugh we've had. We've done Bulwell Stone, which wasn't that funny, but quite interesting.
Soap.
Cakes, fascinating.
Yeah,
soap, now you've liked that.
Yeah,
and then there's
confectionery.
Fudge. Confectionery, and you're just heading for like an open goal on innuendos, aren't you, really?
Well, you mean like a finger of fudge?
I can't say anything wrong with that. No, that's absolutely fine, yeah. But we'll go now.
3 of them.
3 fingers of fudge. You'll be full. Not before dinner. Bye.
Bye.
Nottingham Trent University, working with you. Proud sponsors of Working Week.